As we look around Tombstone, we now adventure into the haunted Birdcage Theater. This is the first time this SLS technology has ever entered this haunted place before. As we walked in, I quickly panned around to see what the SLS camera would catch. As I concentrated on the bar, I then noticed an apparition appear on top of the bar. It did seem that it was dancing, or some kind of apparition was taking place there at the bar. The owners of the Birdcage Theater was intrigued and decided to watch with us. They have never seen this type of technology being used in the birdcage before. This was all new, as they quickly gathered around to watch. We couldn't help but be amazed on what we were seeing in front of us on top of this 100-year-old bar. All of a sudden, another apparition appeared to the right of us. We could clearly see that this was some kind of apparition to the right and was dancing. As I panned around the room, we could clearly see that the SLS camera is working fine, as it was picking up the other guests in the room. I then moved over to the bar and started to pick up this apparition. It was morphing and looked interesting to me, so I kept watching it. It then morphed into what looked like a stick figure man playing the guitar on the bar. Were we looking into the past? Was this some kind of apparition ghost spirit that played guitar on the bar as his foot danced to the beat of what he was playing? Were we looking into the past? Were we looking into something that has taken place there before? What apparitions will we see behind these doors? As I looked at Pam, my wife, an apparition appeared to the right. It was some kind of stick figure. As it danced in front of her, I could only be amazed, for she could not see what I was seeing. As we look closer at this apparition more slowly, we can actually see what it's doing. This has never been seen before in the Birdcage Theater. As I continued to pan around and see what else the SOS camera would pick up, I soon realized that these apparitions were attached to certain objects, as these spirits or ghosts are haunting these objects. I quickly learned that one of the acts inside the birdcage was called the human fly, and people used to walk on the ceiling with the magic of magnets. This painting is at the Birdcage Theater and has been hanging here for centuries. As you can see, this painting is right in front of a lamp. Are the human fly entities, spirit, ghosts, apparitions haunting this lamp? Is this the reason why we are seeing this apparition on the ceiling? I quickly looked around to see what else was there. I could see the bird cages up on top and all the artifacts in this haunted room. I then caught this apparition in one of the birdcage. Could this be the energy of what was there as it disappears? I quickly noticed the apparitions still on the light, as the human flies were clearly acknowledging us as we watched in this haunted room. I then turned it over to the night vision setting and could clearly see this apparition around this light. This light bulb has been hanging there for centuries. It would seem that spirits or ghosts haunt certain objects, as I have learned this in the past. I quickly went to this room where a barber chair was sitting. I was amazed at what I was picking up sitting in this chair. Was this an apparition getting his hair cut? Has he been sitting here this whole time? This is the first time this type of technology for seeing apparitions in the birdcage has ever been done before. And it clearly picks up a stick figure type looking person sitting in this chair. I was amazed on what we were looking at. Clearly, there was somebody sitting in this chair. How long has this apparition into the ghost spirit been sitting in this chair? Was this person killed in this chair? Does his spirit reside still in this chair? I was amazed on what I was seeing in front of me. I then moved to the night vision and could clearly see more of the apparition. We quickly started looking around more of this Birdcage Theater. On the outside we could see an apparition. As we slow down, we could clearly see more of it. There was an apparition to the right of us as he puts his arm up next to the glass table as a person walks by. Later on that night, we decided to do a ghost hunt. While waiting outside of the birdcage, this apparition appeared above me. Was this type of two ghost spirit apparitions in front of me? What could they be doing? As Pam was sitting in front of me, a spirit spider
like some kind of big spider
entity was above Pam. This is Pam.
You're fine here now. It's gone.
As we are looking at it now. Now we are going into this haunted birdcage for the ghost hunt tour. There were apparitions waiting for us as we walked in the door. They clearly want us to see them. Down in the basement where the card playing took place at, we could see this apparition standing on top of the chair where the money is laying on the table. It seemed to be looking up at the staircase above us. This was intriguing as I continued to watch what this apparition was doing. This has never been filmed before inside the birdcage. It then looked down at the money. It looked at the money. Was this apparition trying to take the money? Was it looking or waiting for someone to come down the stairs? I continued to watch this apparition on what it was doing.
Well, I'm going to say that's a light bulb issue.
As I watched the light blink above us, this apparition appeared. Was this apparition the cause of this blinking light on the ceiling? This was intriguing as I continued to watch as the light continued to blink. as I film this apparition in front of us as it kind of looks up at the light. The apparition did seem to be above some of the guests' heads as they sat at the table. This was intriguing as we continue to watch this apparition behind the stage of the Birdcage Theater. This has never been seen before in this haunted room. It then disappeared.
Oh, he's back.
Then came back above people's heads.
Yeah,
Alright.
right above your head there, buddy.
Love mine.
Alright, so any questions?
So these will go off.
Yes, the K2 meters.
I continue to
Electromagnetic
watch
field
this
detectors.
apparition.
That's the theory behind them is what?
So where's all the AC units just so I can pick up my stuff?
There's nothing on back here. The swamp coolers are going on.
No, it's just cool.
Well, the swamp coolers are all down there, but they're blowing straight down. I don't know. I don't see. The theory behind them is that these will, the spirits are electromagnetic energy, and that's what these detect. So if they're going off, then we can assume that
It was
they're
now
having
seen
a
to be
conversation
between
with the spirit.
two of the
Usually if they're
guests
lighting up, then the answer
sitting
is yes.
across
So
the
we're
table
using these, obviously, yes or
from
no
where I was
questions are
sitting
better.
at.
I've had very little activity on these the last couple of hours, and for the last couple of months, to be honest with you. But people have had their own personal experiences, and they've caught a lot of evidence in their photographs.
As you can
So
see,
they'll
the
get a little
SLS
aggravated
camera
and
also
frustrated
picks
if they're not
up
cooperating with us.
the tour guide.
The reason I had you pull your chair
This
back
camera is in full operation and is working very well as it picks up the energy
Ready for lights out?
from
Okay.
the tour
Don't go nowhere,
guide.
I'll be right back.
Is it still there?
Yeah. It's like, you know
As
that
the tour
picture
guide
right there?
leaves
It's right there at
to
that
turn off
picture.
the lights,
Yeah,
will the apparition
Yeah.
still be there when the lights are turned off?
it's like right in between you guys.
I waited in suspense.
Oh, it's still there?
I was amazed that this apparition was still there when the lights were turned off. Then I could see through the vision of the human sitting in front of us as the anomaly was in the sky above them. I then moved to the night vision as we could see the human sitting in front of us as the anomaly was clearly above them. The SLS camera was picking up the people in front of me as then the apparition started to appear above them. This went on for quite some time. It does seem that this apparition was standing on the shoulders of the person sitting in front of me. Was this apparition playing with this person below him? Was he standing on the shoulders of this person? As I moved to the hearse, the Black Mariah, I quickly saw this apparition appear below it and then above it as a stick figure man. Was this stick figure man always standing on the Black Mariah? As we leave the birdcage, I was intrigued on what we saw and what we recorded. As we had lunch at Big Note's Cape Saloon, I could see this apparition was in front of us. We had quite the adventure in Tombstone, Arizona, using our SLS cameras. Now let's take an adventure through this old-time brothel turned into a bed and breakfast hotel. Welcome to the Tombstone Bordello, seen through the eyes of a SLS ghost mapping camera. While being up on the top floor, not much seems to be going on. The SLS camera is working perfectly as it maps Pam. We know that any apparitions that should show up will do so with this camera. Moving forward, it does look like a gunfight has happened here at this certain area. While looking at the wall through a UV light, we noticed that we could see blood splatter on the wall. On the other side of the hallway, there was more blood splatter on the wall and the ceiling, suggesting a gun battle was taking place in this hallway. Now this was the fallen angel room. As the person seemed to be shot, he ran to the doorway and grabbed the door handle and ran into the door, leaving blood splatters on the door handle. Many people have died in this haunted brothel. One of the working girls was said to have jumped off the balcony and had killed herself. Guests of this haunted hotel have written in their logbooks that some of the dolls seem to have been moved on their own, while others hear footsteps in the hallways. As we sat in the TV room lounge, I set the SLS camera on the coffee table and this apparition appeared to the left. Was this a working girl? Was this the girl that committed suicide by jumping down from the balcony? Over to sit in the chair. As I did, the apparition seemed to notice as it seems to look at me. try to touch this apparition. I couldn't help but think exactly who was standing in front of me. The apparition disappears. Where did it go? SLS camera around, I quickly noticed that an apparition ghost was on top of the couch. We then called in the other guests of the hotel to come and watch. They were amazed at what they were witnessing. We couldn't help but wonder what this ghost apparition was doing. As one of the guests moves over to try to touch this ghost apparition, it does seem to notice her trying to do this. As it reaches out and touches her hand. She could feel the presence on her hand. As the apparition stands on her hands, she could tell us that she could feel something. The apparition didn't seem to want to let go, as it extended its arm to touch her hand. Then the apparition disappeared. As I came back to the SLS camera, the apparition soon came back. It then disappeared when a guest walked into the room. Was this the ghost of the lady in the picture? Was this what we were seeing? The apparition soon came back. We could only sit and watch what this ghost apparition was doing. Then one of the guests came in and sat on the couch, as we told her a ghost apparition was not far away from her. Decided to get comfortable on the couch as the apparition seemed to watch. We were amazed on how this apparition was still there, watching us and the guests sitting on the couch. Then the apparition disappeared. Where did it go? Later, the apparition came back again. We were starting to realize that the lady in the photograph was this entity ghost. The movie Tombstone on the TV. We sat and also watched the apparition ghost. I decided to venture outside with the night vision on this SLS camera to see what I would capture. The SLS camera did pick up an apparition, but soon disappeared. It then appeared by the car. I continued to pan around, looking through the SLS night vision. This apparition was clearly attached to this car. Then an apparition did appear, but then soon disappeared. It would seem the apparitions outside did not want to be seen. The SLS camera was not detecting any apparitions outside. As we ventured back into the house, looking through the eyes of the SLS camera, I then ventured into the dining room. What would we see here in this dining room? As I looked around this room with the SLS camera, an apparition seems to come up from the floor and stand on the table. I was amazed on what was looking back at me standing on top of this table. I then decided to move on to see what else I could pick up. I then moved back into the TV room to see if any more apparitions would be seen. An apparition did appear on top of the couch once again. This couch is one of the original furnitures inside this haunted hotel. Was there a ghost spirit apparition attached to this couch? It would seem so. Then the apparition disappeared. We had a great time spending the night at Tombstone's Bordello bed and breakfast